Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rob Armstrong, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the YMCA of Simcoe Muskoka, and it's my pleasure to welcome you here. I want to start today by thanking Minister Dunlop and Ministers Lecce and Phillips for taking the time to visit us here in Midland. It's a beautiful day outside. We were just on a little bit of a tour, and I can't think of nicer places than to be on the shores of Georgian Bay. The YMCA is proud to be a solution-oriented government partner. As the largest provider of childcare in Simcoe County, we are committed to delivering high-quality programs that are accessible and affordable to all. This is important, so we all know childcare is a fundamental part of a healthy community. I'd like to now introduce our local MPP for Simcoe County North, Jill Dunlop, to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Rob. Thank you to Mayor Stuart Strathern and Councillor John Main for being here as well with us today. Thank you for all coming out this afternoon to attend today's announcement. And thank you to my colleagues, Minister Phillips and Minister Lecce, for coming to visit my riding of Simcoe North. And thank you to Naomi Murray and the Simcoe Muskoka YMCA for hosting us today. It is also exciting when we get the chance to talk about the work our government is doing to keep more money in the pockets of Ontarians. It was just a few short weeks ago that I was in the Midland announcing investments our government is making that will benefit the people of Ontario. And this week, we have some even more good news, especially with the new school year starting up soon. As a Minister of Children and Women's Issues and as an MPP, I know it's increasingly difficult to find childcare no matter where you live in this province. Right here in Midland, many daycare spaces are at capacity. More flexibility is needed for childcare throughout the summer and especially during the school year. And with that, I'll let Minister Phillips speak further to how we are working to give parents choice in childcare that is affordable and adaptable to their needs.
Thank you, Minister Dunlop, or Jill, as we say here in Midland. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks to Naomi and to Rob for providing us with the tour. It was great to see the facility here. Mr. Mayor and Councillor, thanks for joining us today. The Simcoe Muskoka YMCA is the kind of place that parents trust their children to. It's the kind of place where they can have the sort of experiences that create memories that will last a lifetime. And our government is focused on making the sorts of services that places like the Simcoe Muskoka Y provide more affordable for Ontario families, so that those families can live the lives that they've earned and deserved. I'm also joined by my colleague Stephen Lecce, and Stephen, our Minister of Education, is going to be making a few comments in a moment as we tell you about another step that we're taking to keep more money in parents' pockets. You have to start, when you come to a place like this, by thinking about summer camp and the memories that we all have and that kids have about the experience of summer camp and the kinds, as I said, memories that those that do last a lifetime. With the season coming to an end, we wanted to take this opportunity to talk about how our government is making it more affordable for parents who take advantage of things like summer camp and other opportunities in their community to provide seasonal and year-round childcare. To be useful, of course, childcare has to be affordable. And that's why Steve and Jill and I are here today to talk about how your government is helping out. Our new child care tax credit that was announced in the last budget is one of the most flexible child care supports in the history of our province. It can be applied to many forms of child care, including day camps, like the one that we've talked about with Naomi, over 50 kids here today, so that's 50 families who can take advantage of it, but also other kinds of child care options that parents decide are best for their kids. That's because the child care tax credit puts parents at the center of the decisions that they're making about their children's child care. It will provide 300,000 Ontario families with a rebate of up to 75% of their childcare expenses. And it'll allow them to access a range of options that include childcare provided in homes, in places of worship, in schools, and in community facilities like the one we're in today. So the three of us are here today to tell parents to save your receipts. Families will be able to start to claim that child tax credit in their taxes filed for this year. And starting next year, they'll be able to, in advance, notify us of their intention to use the childcare and to receive a reduction from their taxes going forward. It's a benefit that is particularly focused on low and middle income families, and for that average Ontario family, it's going to mean about $1,250 back in the pockets of parents who are making use of childcare. That average will be higher for families that have a child with a disability, and in fact, there is no age limit, so it's also for families that have an adult in the family who takes advantage of these kinds of services. I should note that in tandem with this initiative, we are also supporting over $1 billion of investment in creating 30,000 new childcare spaces over the next 5 years, primarily in schools around the province. So this is just part of our solution. And it's also just part of how we are endeavoring to put money back into the pockets of Ontario families to make life more affordable. In addition to what we are announcing today with the child care tax credit, we've also eliminated the cap-and-trade carbon tax, which is putting $260 back in the pockets of Ontario families this year, and that'll go up to $648 by 2022. We're freezing and eliminating many fees, particularly related to driver's fees in the Ministry of Transportation. We've also eliminated the inefficient Drive Clean program. We are expanding natural gas access in rural areas, which will save rural families between $800 and $2,500 a year. We're bringing relief through our middle income tax credit, providing minimum wage workers with $850 in tax relief. That's $850 for an individual, $1,700 for a couple. And that will take over 1 million Ontarians making under $30,000 essentially off the tax rolls. And now, under our new child care tax credit, again, that typical Ontario family will be saving $1,250 on their tax care expenses. These are just some of the examples of what we as a government are doing, and there's still more to come, to try to make life more affordable for Ontario families and try to ensure that those families can enjoy the lives that they have earned and deserve. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Minister Lecce, to talk more about today's announcement. Stephen?
Well, thank you very much. Your Worship, councillors, Naomi and Rob, thank you both for your leadership here at the Y. I mean, you do incredible work in nurturing the next generation of our youngsters, and I know that their parents and your community is very grateful. So thank you all to your team for what you do. Jill, it is awesome to be in your riding. It's my first time as minister to be here, and obviously you have great affinity for the people that you serve. I know how deeply you care about them and how hard you work, so it's just wonderful to be here. It's a wonderful, beautiful community. I have spent a few cottage days here in my past, and I don't think I have many of those in the future, Jill, but my hope is to return to talk more about the things we care about and making life affordable for the people we serve. And I think, you know, today, just if I could build off my colleagues, Mr. Phillips and Minister Dunlop, just to reaffirm to the parents of Ontario that we understand that after the last decade, we've seen Ontario have the most expensive childcare in the nation. And I also recognize that at a time over the past decade where we had the slowest income growth in the nation. So we have highest costs for childcare and yet the lowest growth of income. So people are working harder and taking home less. And the Premier has often talked about this, that for middle class working people, we need to make life more affordable for them. And it is exactly why the Minister of Finance and I and Minister Dunlop, that we are here to demonstrate to parents in word and deed that we hear them. We're trying to reorient that trajectory, putting more money in their pockets through this child care tax credit. But in addition, we're also trying to create more access for the services you care about. And as the Minister spoke about, we are building 30,000 new childcare spaces here in the province of Ontario over the next 5 years, of which 10,000 will be in every school that I approve under this government will have childcare built in it going forward for the benefit of communities in Midland and in communities north, south, east, and west in the province of Ontario. We are dedicating billions of dollars to support mental health in those early years, including in kindergarten, which is the next stage of learning, but really making sure that young people understand that as they face adversity, we've got a system in place, a compassionate support system that helps them overcome that challenge. And just with respect to the other work we're doing in education, obviously we made great significant investments in helping our young people achieve their full potential. It starts in the early years. It starts with the people who work in childcare, who I know work very hard and who have a great passion for what they do. Finally, I just want to express gratitude for the people that are working very hard in this sector, as well as in our education sector. Together, they are really inspiring the next generation of entrepreneurs, of workers, of innovators, of people who are making a difference in their communities and their country. And I just want to reaffirm that, at AMO, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, the Premier made clear that, we want to provide a flexible child credit because we accept and we know that for moms and dads out there, for parents with very unique realities of raising a child, there should not be a one-size-fits-all approach to childcare. And institutional childcare isn't the only option for a lot of parents in the province of Ontario. So providing that flexibility and that recognition that you, as a parent, know best how to raise your child, I think first and foremost is government listening to the people we serve. So with that, I want to thank you all for the opportunity to be here, and I'll turn it back to my colleagues. Yes.
Well, thank you very much. Very, very encouraging for us who work in childcare to hear funding announcements like this, and it's the sort of thing that ensures such a big difference in people's lives, and I think we all know that. I'm not sure if you're going to be sticking around, but is there an opportunity for questions?
If there's any questions, we'll take them.
Any questions? Well, you must have done a really good job. Thank you all for coming, and you can mix and mingle for a little while if you like. Thank you very much.